Punchline now.
And you're on the punchline with Kelly Pavlik and James Dominguez. We are back. Um, we're going to be not hit and miss. We're going to try to be on regularly, but we're going to try to get to as much as possible while this COVID is going. Guys, I know to a lot of you, you may think that we should be having this done every week, but it's hard. It's hard right now with everything going on and everybody's schedule as far as like their work and everything and what's happening. But we're making the best and we're trying to get to you guys every week. What's up, James?
On my screen here.
Yeah. Somebody's volume up?
Yeah, mine's up.
Yeah. So, well, you getting anything on Facebook or you can't?
Looking for the page, like the page to come up. It's not coming up. Let me see. Nope. I'm on the Punchline page, right?
I don't
Let me
know,
tell you.
man.
There it goes. All right, I got it. I got it. All right.
Yep. So there's a lot of fights to talk about in the last 2 weeks.
The big Ryan one the other. We had Ryan, right?
Yeah. You got Ryan. What was the week before that? I think there was one or two on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can get into that. I'm sure that's what everybody's going to want to talk about. So
So let's go ahead and get into it.
yeah, what was your thoughts on it?
Um, I think I was pretty much on line with what you were saying about the show about Ryan. I think Ryan looked better than I thought he was going to look. I thought he was going to have more problems with a guy like Campbell, just because of the Olympic pedigree, things like that.
Yeah.
But I was actually surprised that he did put him away since being the first person to do it. But we also had said from the very beginning that with him, with some of the flaws he has, it's going to make his fights a little harder than they have to be. Maybe with the chin in the air, he got caught, and we knew he was going to get caught eventually. Stepping straight back, those things are always going to haunt him until he gets those kind of things fixed.
Well, remember when I used to say like that he's one of the younger guys that I think needs to really take his time coming up more so than the other guys
Of course.
due to like immaturity and again, just not I'm not saying immaturity like an insult like personality.
Yeah.
I'm just saying as far as some fighters need that. Yeah, everybody grows different, and I think that was a fight there. It was a fortunate knockdown for him in his career. I think that was really big. I think that was something that he could really build back off of. Go back, work on his mistakes. I think that knockdown actually showed a lot because he got knocked down and the way he returned replied back to that knockdown was good. He kept his composure. He didn't lose his confidence. He didn't lose. He didn't go crazy. He came back and he systematically broke down Campbell, and I think that was a. Some fighters need that in their career. A lot of people were already talking about no chin. We don't know. He got caught in the punch that if anybody got caught like that, um, they would have went down too. His chin was in the air, but these are all good things for him to go back to the drawing board and work on. I think that was a very fortunate thing that happened to him.
And about 2 months ago, that if he does get caught from those chin in the air, it's going to be a learning experience for him.
Mhm. Absolutely. I mean that was it was a good fight for him. I mean, but he came back. He dominated. He dominated Campbell as more than pretty much anybody else has. It was a good showing. A good fight. Now, there's a lot of people jumping to conclusions saying that he's top guy, and there's also a lot of haters that are coming down on him. So you can't really win. Do I think that he's the real deal at lightweight right now? No. Does he got the hand speed and everything else to compete? Absolutely. Just in my opinion, right now, Tiafimo is top dog at lightweight.
Me
People
too.
are still throwing Haney around. Listen, Haney has not showed me right now. I still think Tank is more of a factor at lightweight than Haney.
Yeah. There's no
Uh,
volume. I'm hearing just fine, aren't you?
yeah.
Okay.
Uncle Shan says Ryan has holes defensively where he positions his hands while throwing punches. Don't bring hands back to face. Drops the other hand he isn't throwing with. Yeah, but those are things that could be, and you're right, Uncle Shan, but those are things that he could fix. Hopefully he could fix. He should be able to. I mean, those are not real hard things to do, kind of. I mean, once you get caught like that, it becomes a habit that you should pick up.
Yeah. Well, the problem is this. The problem is this. Like Guadalupe just commented here that you have to have more than a left hook. I don't know what Guadalupe Gonzalez is looking at, but Ryan Garcia has more than a left hook. He has a great right hand,
Yeah, he does.
great jab too. He has a fantastic jab. Thing is this: that left hook. The kid is not a mature fighter yet, but he does know that you do need a left hook and you need a straight right hand to beat a southpaw. Did he use it too much? Yeah, but it worked for him. Would I recommend changing punches up? Yes, but that comes with time. But I'm not gonna. Hey, what's up, Clarence? How you doing? Clarence said, "James Kelly salute. How you doing?" Dominic Belonza said, "Do you think the 2 year layoff made the difference?" Uh, it could have made a difference, but who knows? I mean, Campbell's not that old, so I don't think it made a super big difference.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I got a little sick. Oh, never mind. I'm trying to prop my phone up a little bit, but it is what it is. Yeah. No, there's things that he could work on. Absolutely. Just one of them things, when you get dropped like that, that's something that you should learn. You should pick that up. I think he's still early enough in his career where he could fix that. Forever Carrasco goes, "What's up, James Kelly? Happy New Year, TBO. Can anyone beat Canelo at 68?" We'll get to that. Santillo says, "What's up, James and Kelly? And can you bring some cough drops next time?" Who's coughing? James, were you coughing?
Am I?
Yeah.
I don't think.
Says, can you bring some cough drops next time? I don't know what that is. Um, what's up, James and Kelly? Oh, so we'll go. Well, we can hop right to the. We can come back to the Garcia. Um, yeah, there's a
Or you
handful.
did. I want to make a point about this, Kelly.
Yeah,
The unpopular opinion that nobody wants to talk about with the Garcia thing, and this is what nobody wants to talk about. This is like the fly in the ointment. I can't hear you.
I'm not talking.
If you were, I couldn't hear. No, the Garcia, the Reynosos, they're not very. What's the right word? They're not a disciplined type trainer. They're kind of I'm gonna say it. They're kind of ass kissers as trainers, and that's not what Ryan Garcia needs in his career. He doesn't need someone who caters to him. He needs somebody that's disciplined. And the Reynosos, they cater to Canelo his whole career, and pretty much overlooked a lot of bad things that Canelo did until Canelo kind of figured it out on his own. They would rather keep the money rolling in than upset a fighter and have him leave by telling him, "Hey, you're fucking up. You're making mistakes." If you heard the corner that night with Reynoso, he was saying, "Ryan, you're looking good. You're doing great. Everything looks great." I was like, "What the?" I was thinking about what the fuck are you thinking? You're stepping back out. You're stepping back out. Your chin straight in the air. He's getting baited for body punches. As soon as Campbell threw a body punch, um, Garcia would drop his hands and try to block his body right away, leave his head right open, and turn to the side. But that's what they were doing. They wanted to keep him comfortable, but at what cost? Do not tell your
Well,
fighters the truth.
in my opinion on that, a little early for Garcia without many fights coming up. Without many fights coming up to against a guy, I mean, I think we're still taking a little bit of credit away from Campbell. Luke Campbell's a hell of a fighter, and for his first time being against a guy like that, I thought that some of the mistakes they were bad, they weren't that bad, but I think there's something a fight like that with Campbell. He was again very fortunate where he could go back. Those are the small things that he could eventually get himself out of the habit of doing and work on.
But this is that's what I'm saying though. What it's like what I'm saying is on these trainers though. This trainer he needs to disciplinary. He needs to know he's making mistakes. I don't want nobody wants to hear 10 years from now that looking back that he wasted a whole career listening to stuff that didn't benefit him.
Yeah.
You mean we had that with Oscar.
Oh, don't.
Oscar had that coming up. He had a guy like Robert Alcazar that didn't really punish him much. Then you had a guy like Gil Clancy who worked at Cordova Trinidad and told Oscar he was winning the round to go ahead and run. I mean, that's not the kind of trainer Ryan Garcia needs. Ryan Garcia needs somebody that's going to stay on him. A Rudy Hernandez, a Robert Garcia, somebody like that that's going to say, "Hey, get it together. You're not doing the right
Yep.
thing. Get your
And
chin down."
I think you may see that soon enough. I mean, again, a little early to really hop on all that. We've seen a fight after fight, and it's something that kind of should have been fixed by now. But also, in there with a guy like Campbell for like really the first time in his
Who's doing it?
career. Um,
Tiafimo's doing it though, and he has the same amount of fights. He's doing it. Virgil's doing it. Has the same amount of fights.
yeah, that's what I mean. It's just that everybody mature is different. Um, does Ryan have a better chance of beating Haney or Javante? I think Garcia and Javante are similar in a sense where if they don't hurt their opponent, they have trouble winning rounds. Um,
Easier than
yeah,
Tank.
I don't see how that is. Actually, Ryan Garcia was winning pretty much every round, besides when he got dropped. Um, hand speed wise, I don't think there's a right now. Ryan Garcia got the fastest hands at lightweight. The next, I think personally, is a toss up between Haney and Tiafimo. I give the edge to Tiafimo on that. Um, so
He's still there.
I don't get that question. I don't think Ryan Garcia. Nobody's going to beat him unless they knock him down or knock him out. In my opinion, right now, especially if he sharpens his skills.
Yeah. No, that too. But everybody already people are like, you have well, so of course, I'm glad you mentioned what was being said in the corner because I couldn't understand no interpreter. Yeah, it's true. And I was wondering to myself, I was like, why aren't these guys correcting what's going on in the corner? And then I noticed they used to do that with Canelo and they did it with some of the other fighters. They're so afraid of pissing the fighters off, they don't want to say what's really the truth.
Maybe. Um, yeah, Lomachenko is still alive at 45. Yes, he is. I don't know why people were still counting him out unless Lomachenko wants to be done himself. We're going to get to the 168 here real quick, guys. We're going to finish up on this. There's a lot of questions on the 168 that I think people want to get to because I think we kind of did miss that Canelo part of it. Um, Santiago goes, the instructions have to go from Eddie to Ryan's dad to Ryan. The details and emotion gets lost in translation. It might. Listen, again, early in this kid's career on that, as James said, maybe these things, I agree. Some of these things should have been fixed along the way coming up. I do agree with that. As far as this fight goes, though, it was the first like real test that he had. Um, I don't think they were that bad but when he got dropped, and that's all you need sometimes is that one slip up. So let's see if he fixes them. Now that's the biggest thing. These fights like this, these learning experience fights, these are where if he could turn it around, he's going to be legit. He's going to be somebody to deal with. Let's see if the trainer can do that, and if not, or maybe Ryan Garcia leaves now. Maybe his promoter, maybe Golden Boy or somebody's in his there and says, "Hey, you need to leave your trainer. You got too many bad habits. They haven't been fixed in 15, 16 fights, and it's time you get it." So we'll see what happens on that. I do agree. I mean, he should have been broken of those bad habits by now.
Or at least actively working on it. Hey, Darren says, do you think Ryan is ready for Tank, or should he get another fight? Absolutely, he's ready for Tank. Why not? Um,
Yeah.
the thing is this. Here's what I think. People are so fast to jump on a train and jump off. They're like, oh, Tank will knock out Ryan easy. But you got to remember what. Let's talk about what's coming back at Tank. What's coming back at Tank? You think Ryan's going to sit there and just let Tank beat on him? Let me tell you what. Leo Santa Cruz is a solid featherweight, and he was lighting Tank up. Let's not forget that.
Listen, I was in a talk room with people, and they kept throwing out Javante Davis is a the real deal, and he is power wise. I got that. He can knock you out at any given second. But you're talking about his hands, and I'm going, are you guys forgetting that Santa Cruz was winning that fight? Unless you're that biased, Santa Cruz was winning that fight. I mean, I had Santa Cruz up by a round.
Yeah,
So I mean, that fight goes, and let me tell you something else. I know, if like the saying, "If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle."
yeah.
But if that fight goes 3 rounds longer, that's not a Tank fight. That's definitely a Santa Cruz fight. So I
And
don't understand that part. I mean, like right now, boxing wise, Haney would be my opinion to like really give Garcia, a hard fight.
I don't think Haney's as good as advertised. I think Tank's a better fighter than Haney.
No, I'm just saying as far as boxing, I think that
I
Haney do a better
don't.
job against Garcia. But as far as
It's
dangerous
hard.
fights, I think Tank is the most dangerous because Tank could land that shot.
Yeah, Tank could close the night anytime he lands.
Yep,
But the thing is, Tate is not a defensive specialist by any means. He gets hit a lot too. We saw that. Again,
yep.
Ryan Garcia will land punches on Tate, and we know Tate can be hurt too. We've seen it.
Yes, he can. That's what I'm saying. I agree. I mean, I don't understand where people are coming from on that. Like, all of a sudden, like Tank is this super slick, super fast, um, hit you with 90 punches around. That's not how it works. Tank. Chances are, when Tank steps up against guys like Haney and Garcia and Tiafimo, if you don't knock him out, he's going to lose the fight.
So happy it's a
It's that.
competitive. Oh, Sakura said, "I'm so happy it's a competitive division." But stop with the Duran and Four Kings comparisons. Duran reigned the lightweight division and didn't beat the other four Kings until he moved up in weight. Absolutely, I agree with that. Everybody wants to jump to the Four Kings. Oh, as Ryan Garcia would have got destroyed by Roberto Duran, or always somebody from this generation would have been beat by a fighter from them, which I call bullshit.
Yep. UK banned all boxing events. So, listen, I got to go. How does Loma match up against youngsters? I think Loma's still a live dog. I mean, guys, you got to remember, I'm not taking anything away from Tiafimo when I say this. Tiafimo won. But you seen what happened when Lomachenko pulled his head out of his ass. You seen what he could do. So, I don't know, man. It's yeah, Lomachenko is still somebody to deal with at 135. But we just don't know how hungry Lomachenko is. What's going to happen. I haven't heard much right now. So,
I disagree with Sakura that she's sick of the Four Kings comparisons. We talk about it all the time, don't we? We talk about those Four King comparisons, the Hearns, the Hagler, the Leonard, and the Durans always being compared to these new young guys nowadays. I'm sick of it.
yeah, I am too. There's so much shit that people don't realize, nor do they want to take the time to research that it's irritating. But
Talk about the.
what's
Let's talk
that?
about that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, the names are all running together, but I mean, dude, you got them guys all besides Sugar Ray Leonard. Hagler fought guys. The guys that he fought, like Mustafa Hamsho and all them guys that everybody puts up, them guys were fighting under 500 fighters right before they fought Hagler. Hagler, coming up, this guy told me that he had the best one in 50 years, telling me who had a harder resume than Hagler coming up. I was like, dude, there's a lot of people. Roberto Duran, I'm not even going to get into it. And the guy told me, he goes, well, they fought 5 times a year. I said, well, does that still give him an okay? Does that make it okay for him to still fight guys 0-2? I said, if any fighter today with social media platform, if any fucking fighter fought an 0-2 guy, if Lomachenko at lightweight or Tiafimo or Haney fought a guy 0-2 in their next fight, they would be kicked out of boxing. But it's okay. See, here's the whole problem. What it comes down to, though, social media was not around when them guys were coming up. That's the whole problem. If social media was around, everybody'd be chirping too right now. No fighter today is ever going to be that guy. There's always going to be somebody out there to knock them, and rumors and this and that and opinions. They're going to fly, and they're never going to get credited. And these guys today, in fact, are doing more than what them guys did, and it's irritating. I don't want to hear the records, and people have a hard time swallowing the truth on that. Like when I hit them with that knowledge, I can start hearing the stutters come out, and they start reaching for the 0-2 guys were a different breed than 0-2 guys today. and all that horse,
0-2.
you know.
2.
Yeah, it's irritating. A lot of people are asking about Canelo here, and I'm sorry, guys, on YouTube. Here's what I want to throw out. I personally think right now Canelo should try to go back to 160, even though he already kind of took over that weight class. I mean, he conquered it. When I say that, at the time that he beat Danny Jacobs and Triple G, those were the two kings, or part of the three kings at middleweight. He did what he had to do at middleweight. I was on that group chat listening to people say, well, Andrade and Charlos, no matter what, the Charlos, or if people are ducking the Charlos or what's ever going on, the Charlos are not fighting anymore. So it's still, instead of coming down on Canelo, you got to come down on the handlers of the Charlos or something. They got to go prove themselves. James, you said this too. We both have. They got to go prove themselves. And secondly, even if they prove themselves, if Canelo don't want to go back to 60 right now, he don't have to. Do I personally think that Canelo should fight at 160? Yeah. Look, he's coming to the end at 168, and I'm sorry to say that, but he's not going to beat Benavidez. He's not going to beat Bivol. And Bivol is at 168, but he's definitely not going to beat Benavidez. So I think he's going to hit that part where he'll beat Billy Joe Saunders. I seen somebody over here say Billy Joe Saunders can beat Canelo. That's not going to happen. And Caleb Plant's not going to beat Canelo either. Those are not going to be the guys. It's going to be the Bivol or the Benavidez. It's going to be those type guys that come down and beat Canelo. So
She doesn't like the comparisons. Well, that's the thing about boxing. Some things you don't like, some things you do, Sakura. I mean, we can't just pick and choose. If not, this shit's a hobby. It's not a job. We don't talk about what we want to talk about. We talk about what's there to talk about. And the thing is this: it's this. As long as these guys are the legends, people are going to compare fighters to the legends, and it is absolutely fucking fair that we compare these guys because why is it not fair? It's okay to bypass Durant saying or Hagler saying that they fought a guy that was 8-21. That's okay, and it's okay to do that. But we come down on the new fighters because he might be ranked in the 30. But one's good for the goose is not really good gander. I call bullshit on that. Stop.
yeah, it is bullshit, and everybody does too. Yeah, I see on every one of these boxing sites, I see somebody say, "Oh, I wish these guys were like the guys of old. I wish they'd fight people." These guys right now, hey, listen, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, a lot of these guys, Canelo, they're doing the same thing, and they're actually not fighting guys 0-2 in between fights. So I don't want to hear that. I'm over it. Like people, it's half these fucking people saying this. The word it wasn't even around to watch these careers. They're going off what their daddy and everybody.
Or didn't even watch boxing. They never even see him fight, and they're the most. They're the ones that have the biggest opinions. The one that never seen him fight.
But I love it every time I hit them with that. Every time I hit them with it, that's when they start going. They get to stutter. And they're like, "Oh well, the 0-2 guys back then were different than they are today," or well, they fought 8 times a year. I don't give a fuck if they fought 15 times a year. Does that make it okay? Right?
Hey, they had that post. A prime George Foreman fighting a prime George Foreman fighting prime Lennox Lewis. People could not get it in their head that they thought George Foreman would have ran right through Lennox Lewis. My uncle's sitting here at the end shaking his head. No, that's his time period.
Besides,
Lennox Lewis would have beat the shit out of George Foreman.
Besides Joe Frazier, and I say Kenny Norton, which
and Muhammad Ali.
Which he got knocked out by Ali.
He did fight.
He beat 5'10" Joe Frazier. I mean, you're going to tell me because Lewis every loss that he had, he rematched and won, and he knocked the guys out. Rockman, Oliver McCall. Dude, Foreman had lost to a guy in 1977 that was 10-5. Yeah, you're going to tell me right now that Foreman walks through Lennox Lewis? Shut the hell up! Don't ever talk boxing again.
I guess he's in charge of a commission somewhere, some kind of bullshit belt, and he got on there doing disrespectful today because he's one of the guys said, well, first of all, he knows more about boxing than everybody, but then he was like, Lennox won the gold medal in the 1983 Olympics. What? I think there was no 83 Olympics, you
It was.
fucking dodo. It was he did fight in 84, but he won gold in 88. He knocked out Riddick Bowe in 88.
Mm-hmm.
But there again, if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just tired of hearing it. Like, you went in there for him.
If you pull Lennox Lewis' resume, it's one of the greatest in the heavyweight division.
It is.
He beat everybody. Dude, on a weekend, he beat James Tua, and Michael fucking Grant. That's a weekend fight. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think Foreman may have fought one guy in his whole entire career that was taller than him. He was 6'3". I'm just not that that has anything to do, but it makes a difference when you're not used to punching up 3 inches when you're fighting a guy like Lennox Lewis. What's gonna happen there? Like it's totally different. People can't.
Well, people are saying, well, George Foreman's old. Did he win a world title at 43?
He did. He won a world title 3 fights after getting knocked out by Young or Jimmy Young, or the guy that was 10-5 or
Tommy Morrison. He won after being beat by Tommy Morrison.
Oh, you won you won a world title with 3 fights after Tommy Morrison. That's right.
Didn't Lennox Lewis skull drag Foreman around the ring?
Mm-hmm.
There's a skull drag Lennox Lewis. That's the thing. We have so many questions going. Sakura said many differences. 4 teams are higher divisions, nothing to do with lightweight. But we're not talking about just lightweight divisions, Sakura. We're talking about even people in the welterweight division, comparing these guys, comparing Hagler, some of the middleweights today. We're talking about that in general.
Yeah, they were doing it. One guy was doing it with me yesterday, and I had to school him on that, and he was putting them up, and then he goes, well, and I said, second of all, I go, why are you even putting Hagler in this? I go, Hagler was a middleweight. You're putting all the lightweights up today, and you have the Fab Four. I go, most of them guys, there's one guy that started at lightweight or fought at lightweight, and most of them guys started at welterweight going up. So, I mean, how can you compare it? But again, we're getting talked about comparing, but this is what everybody does. You can have 4 heavyweights today fighting, and they'll go, they're not the Fab Four. So, I mean, the Fab Four always gets put out there in that. Sugar Ray Leonard retired because of detached retina at the time the fight was realistic. So how could he have fought Aaron Pryor? Nobody's saying that. He was a middleweight a super middleweight when he went up. He got his James. Sugar Ray Leonard had a detached retina. He was already was he at welterweight or was he at middleweight at that time?
Or I thought against Hearns when he detached his retina. That was in '89. It was like 87 when he detached it.
What weight did they end up fighting at, though, in '89?
Hearns and him?
That was a welterweight?
They fought at 47.
Yeah.
I think Ray Leonard made 3 or 4 comebacks. He made one. He retired and then he fought Hagler and came back after Hagler and got beat by Camacho and Terry Norris.
Yeah. Damon got a good one. Or hold on, let me hit all these guys. He goes, was real. TBO Flanagan says, was realistic. Iso Aku said, yes, just do your research. I don't know if he's talking about when I was Sugar Ray because of detached retina. No one was talking about, I don't even remember bringing up Sugar Ray Leonard's name. Iso, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Unless you're reaching for something. Fuck, when we were really talking, we just talked about.
You know
I
what
asked about Sugar Ray Leonard just now after I seen his comments. That's why I was bringing it up.
You know what? It's the metaphorical Fab Four dick comes out. Everybody over 50 got to come suck it.
Yep.
Dick, let's suck him.
Sugar Ray Leonard came back. He fought fucking Camacho at
fucking 40.
Super middleweight.
Morris knocked him out too.
Mm-hmm. I am lost, TVO. I mean, people are hopping all around. I mean, this guy Iso asked about. He said Sugar Ray Leonard is telling us that we should do our research. We weren't even talking about him. We were talking about Duran and the Fab Four, just all together. It's all good, Iso. I'm just trying to figure out where this was at, this convo. The TBO says, keep up with the chat. Dude, you guys know how hard it is. I'm answering 55 questions over here while trying to carry a conversation and make a point.
On the chat? Who said that?
Oh, okay, guys. I'm sorry. I'm getting it. I'm going to have to probably take a break from the chat. They're talking amongst each other. That's my fault. Okay, it's cool.
Okay, Orlando Canizales says, Happy New Year, fellas. Hope it's all well. Happy New Year to you, champ. I
Happy New Year,
appreciate it.
Orlando.
Hall of Fame fighter Orlando
All
Canizales
good,
just jumped
guys.
on here.
All good, TVO. Flanagan. I get it now, guys.
Let's talk about
Yeah,
this
Orlando
168.
Canizales, man. That's great to have a guy like him on, a champion like that. Um,
Why are everybody saying he fought nobody?
so here's a good one. David Martinez, Kelly, James. Does 130 Camacho beat 130 Lomachenko and 130 Floyd?
Yes. 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 I'm going to say it. Camacho at 130 was nearly unbeatable.
That's a tough
He
one.
just his power was he even had power then, and he
That's a
couldn't be
tough
hit.
one. To say
He
that
was
he beat,
fast.
to say he beats Floyd too at
I
130.
do. I do. Absolutely. I think I'm saying as opinion. 130 Camacho was the best one of the best 130s ever.
Well, I'm not arguing that, but that's just I don't know, man. That's when I would have to par. That's a hell of a matchup. That's probably one of the best fantasy matchups I've seen. Is Camacho at 130 versus all them guys? I guess either Floyd or Lomachenko. I don't know because Lomachenko was a dog at 132. That's a good one. But yeah, so real quick recap on the super middleweight. Yeah, I don't want to see Canelo. If he gets a fight with Caleb Plant or what's his name, the other dude, Billy Joe Saunders, that's cool. I really would like to, even though you don't have to, you got nothing to prove, and he don't owe Charlo or Andrade a fight. But I would like to see him go back down because those are more names at that weight class and clear that out. And then I wouldn't care if he retired, to be honest. So,
Um,
Damon says James told me Rosario ruined Camacho. Agreed. No.
I think when Rosario hit him, a lot of people say the same thing. When Rosario stung him, Camacho was never the same again. Camacho never was never that push forward. He never came forward and threw shots. He was always on his back foot after that.
I know it's just hard for me to, a lot of people move to that real quick and say certain fights ruin guys. I mean, Camacho didn't even go down. You got stunned. Maybe he wanted.
You can be hurt without going down, and it can change you. You know,
I don't know. That's a hard one to say. I can't say it off one fight. I mean, he did change his style, so um, he did become more of a mover after that. But I don't know if it changed him. I mean, Camacho still got in there and mixed it up certain fights.
he never looked for that KO again. You know what I mean? He never really looked for it. It was. I just think it was totally. He was a different fighter.
Um, how about Crawford versus Pryor at 140? Ooh,
It's too small for 140.
who? Pryor?
Aaron Pryor was too small at 140.
Pryor
At
just
one at
Pryor didn't
130,
fight.
at 130 he was an animal. 135, yeah, but you can start seeing the talent at that point. You know,
And Crawford would be a real big 140. Crawford got too much skill. Again, these guys today, I'm not saying this, it's just because they're fighting each other, it don't look like it. But these guys they're a different level of hitting. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, and especially their all time favorites are the guys like in the 80s and 70s, and they don't want to hear it. But these fucking guys today crack, man. They hit so hard and they're so fast, and things are different. That style that Pryor had. I don't think with these lightweights or junior lightweights today that he would have been able to keep up with that. He would have been brain dead quick.
Aaron Pryor threw 120 punches a round, man, and never quit from all 12 rounds over 100 punches a round. He had one of the records up until Troy Dorsey beat it.
Oh shit! Just that Aguayo fight alone. Um,
Here, we got a question from Esteban Kelly. Name a common injury that is common for a fighter and a person who has never fought would be surprised to know. A common injury would be hand injuries. Those little bones in the middle of the hands, those little metatarsals in the hands, those will end a fighter's career fast if they can't get those under control. What do you think, Kelly?
well, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question. It was fuzzy.
Common injury that is common for fighters and a person who has never fought would be surprised to know.
Oh yeah, the hand. Even if
The
you're not a
little,
big power puncher, I mean, the hands still get banged up. Hands ain't made for that shit.
there
Uh,
are the ones that'll stop a career. I mean, it almost stopped Canelo. Not Canelo too. It almost ruined Canelo, and it also hurt Floyd for a lot of years. He had 8 surgeries.
Prospect of the year, Berlanga. No, listen. If anybody right, the hardest thing about Berlanga right now in his career is for his promoter and matchmaker. Kid does hit hard. Not taking that from him. Hits super hard. What's going to be hard with Berlanga, where I think it's going to be one of the fighters where I wouldn't be surprised if he loses before he gets that title shot, is because when they're matching him, on the way up, they try to get fighters rounds too. Like even if you're a power puncher, your promoter is trying to find to see how you react if you got to go 6, 8, 10 rounds, and they got to be real careful picking that opponent that'll carry you or take you into the later rounds, but won't beat you. And I think that's going to be something that becomes an issue. They're going to eventually have to put Berlanga in there with somebody who's cruddy, who will probably take a lot of them shots, and they're going to be in his ass. And I think that's when we're going to find out how good of a prospect Berlong is. Is 15 and 14 and 0, 14 knockouts impressive? Yeah. Is it impressive watching him hit people? I don't have to get hit by him. I can hear his punches when he lands them. That this dude is legit when he punches. But there's going to be a point where somebody's going to be able to take that. It's not uncommon for a lightweight to walk around 155, 165. 165.
Right,
Yeah, he may. Yeah, it's possible. It's pretty big though.
right. So it don't make a difference. Well, we know Mikey walks at lightweight walks 65, 170.
I do watch him get owned by Erickson Lubin sparring. Who, over, how common is steroid use among elite fighters? That's a good question. I mean, obviously anymore, it seems like it's pretty common. Um, I don't know.
You have a question by Dominic saying, "How would you have done against Marvin Hagler?"
I think I would have done good. I think it's a different. I think it would have been hard for Marvin Hagler to do what he does. Listen, Marvin Hagler was a straight come forward guy. He wasn't a super power puncher. He was a wear you down guy. But Marvin Hagler also was a 5'8". They say 5'9". He was no 5'9". He was a 5'8" guy. Um, I think he would have been in for a long night. And I throw a lot of punches around. It wasn't like he would wear me down. Actually, he'd be in with a lot bigger guy who throws every bit as many punches as he does. I think he would have. I think he would have had a hard time with that. So, and Uncle Sham, I will stop ducking Jake Paul.
Says,
Um,
how would you have done a Canelo at 160?
I think that'd been a good one. And Canelo been a little different. Canelo could fight, and Canelo shows that he could handle obviously big guys. So I still think with my style it would have been I would have gave him hell. And of course I'm not going to say Canelo beats me, but I think it would have been a hell of a fight. I really do. I think it would have been very interesting. I can tell you this: I would put hands on Canelo more than anybody has, even more than Triple G did. So,
Canelo versus Caleb Plant.
Caleb Plant, I would love
Oh,
that.
that's by matter of fact, that's by Cliff Butler. Ask that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would love that. Um, TBO said I broke my hand on the hard dome of Hagler. I'm not worried about it. If I didn't break it on certain other guys' heads, probably wouldn't have been his. Um, we
Probably
never
Kelly.
offered steroids. No, I honestly, with that, I never was. I mean, sometimes when I go back and watch my fights and I look at the way I was built, I was kind of like, damn, I wish I would have. Um, but no, I'm totally against that. Listen, I'm one of them guys. I'm totally against steroids for everything. If people want to take them, I mean, to some extent, I guess not everybody, a lot of people do, whether they bodybuild, lift weights, box, play football. I think in contact sports, though, and that even includes football or boxing, combat, or UFC, I think you should do a hefty jail time if you are caught under the using steroids, using performing enhanced drugs. I think you should do jail time for that because there's enough people's health is on the line as it is enough in these combat sports. Let alone putting something like that in your system. It's not cool.
Cliff Butler wants to know about Canelo versus Caleb Plant. What do you think?
Canelo. Yep. Uncle Sham says, "Call me crazy. I think Jake Paul beats McGregor in a boxing match." Um, I think it's closer than if he fought Hagler or Mayweather.
I think people don't. I don't think people really understand the difference between the average guy and a professional fighter. They're even if it's not the same sport, he's still a professional fighter. It's still a big difference. It's a world apart.
Mm-hmm.
And Logan Paul is still not a professional fighter by any means.
No.
So the distance is bigger than people think. You know, it's funny. I read an article that the average man thinks that they think they're 400% better than they are actually in a fight. They're 400% not as good as they really thought they were. And then they get in the street and they go because they went to a couple of jiu-jitsu classes where they 3 rounds of shadow boxing or a cardio boxing class. They go start shit and they get their foot shoved up their ass.
Yep. Those could actually cause more harm taking jujitsu or boxing than it could help. Um,
Kind of guy that's confrontational, you know.
yep. TVO says, Kelly, you have flat foot style. Does that's similar to Canelo Garcia in some ways? What pros and cons does it bring? Um, certain fights I was real flat foot, but if you go back to even both the Taylor fights and if even the Sergio Martinez, I had some bounce in my step and I moved. The pros and cons to it is flat foot. Sometimes you could be a sitting target, depending on your style and how you fight. Listen, if you're not a fast fighter, but moving the footwork, unless you're doing subtle moves, it ain't going to help you. Sometimes you just got to become a brawler in certain fights. But and sometimes too much footwork can hurt you, or trying to be fancy with your feet. I was really thinking about this today. I was on my way driving, and I was thinking about that. Like, and it's funny that you asked that because it was going through my head again on footwork. Like what is footwork and what do people consider footwork? And a lot of people don't get it. And we talked about this on the show before, and I said, I compare it to like Ben Roethlisberger is a perfect example. He's a big guy who's slow as shit, slow
Your
as
head
crap.
sticking out of the camera.
But oh, I'm sorry, but Ben Roethlisberger, he always makes those quick little moves. Like he's hard to sack. He makes that one step at the right time. And guys like Bernard Hopkins, guys like Mikey Garcia, um, Paul Spadafora, guys like that had great footwork where they weren't all over the ring either. They just stayed. They made that right little move. And as I said before, boxing is a game of inches and angles. So certain things can help. It all depends on what you're talking about when it comes to what your idea of footwork is and what my idea is.
I think a lot of media, as fans, they really don't know what footwork is. They think it's moving laterally and moving all over the ring and doing a bunch of unnecessary shit. That's not footwork. Footwork is for me to get out of position of you hitting me and me back in a position to counter you. That's all footwork is.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple. That's simply broke down. My footwork, my guys, I want their footwork for you to miss them by an inch and they hit you by an inch.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Dave asked a question, Kelly. As a trainer handler, ask me too. What would you do? What you do with Garcia moving up to get him to top 5? As a trainer handler, what would I do with Garcia moving forward? I would keep him fighting. That's it. That's the best thing you can do for Ryan Garcia. Is just keep him getting experience, keep him getting rounds under him. You're not going to learn much sparring. You're not going to learn much hitting mitts. The only way you're going to get better is actually being in the ring and drilling and going over the same things over and over again. And that's what I would do, Damon.
Yeah, and well, I'm gonna get to that. Dana said you're never off balance or out of position. I was good on the balance, and again that comes with footwork. Um, Ryan Garcia, yeah, he needs to stay active, but he does need a trainer that works with that. And again, it's just not talking about one day. Ryan Garcia is at the point where he's still young enough and he's intelligent enough where he can work on that in a 2 or 3 month camp, or even you come back to the gym and just go through a light workouts, okay, right now before he even starts a hard training camp, and go over that and repetitious. And with guys at that level, if you work on the repetitious things with them like that, and that's what they're small. When I say they're small, keeping the hands up, keeping your chin tucked, those are all small things that they can pick up if you do it repetitiously with them. And I think that's all he needs. And again, he may just be one training camp away from that, but that's somewhere where the trainer has to see it. The trainer has to take the time to work on that, and the trainer has to make that the priority. And sometimes with trainers, they fail to do that.
So to get in position to hit your opponent, I guess he just missed that part. I said that, but good job, Steven. Dan said Dan Siegel, Jake Paul versus Billy Blanks, who wins?
Who?
Blanks have a, Dan Siegel said Jake Paul versus Billy Blanks, who wins? Blanks have a professional career though, didn't he?
Bar, yeah, not Bar. I would take. Hey, listen, I'll take Paul on that one. Billy Blanks, Tybo.
He had a pro career. Billy Blanks did. He was like 10-0 or 10-2 or some crazy shit. But hey, Dan Siegel, congratulate us for the new show and the new format we're on the new station. By the way, I want to appreciate. Thank you, Dan. We appreciate it.
Timmy Turner says Devin Haney beatable by Garcia. Yes, yeah, he is.
Yes.
Sorry, guys, I'm not taking nothing away from Haney. I got respect for all the guys and all the fighters. I mean, just right now, there's there's nothing that's really. He's a great fighter. There's nothing that's selling me to say that that he can walk through any top three guy in the lightweight division right now. I don't see that. I don't see him beating Lomachenko. I don't see him beating Teofimo. I don't see him beating Tank Davis right now. Unless he could. He has a good chance of beating Tank unless he gets caught. And Ryan Garcia, I think Ryan Garcia is too quick. I could be wrong though.
And Shakur Stevens' skill set overlooked, and what would it take to get the fans to see his talent level?
Shakur Stevenson is one of the most talented kids right now. That last fight, a lot of people were knocking him, saying they wish he would have knocked that guy out. That dude was in the survive. First of all, that was a good fighter. That was a talented fighter, and Shakur just beat him up. And then that dude went in survival mode. And listen, when a guy goes into survival mode, it's impossible to try to knock them out. And no matter how big of a power puncher you are, that guy, his main goal after the fourth round was not to get knocked out. And when that's your main goal, it's hard to knock them guys out. So I thought Shakur looked great.
Even when it comes to boxing, they forget the sport's called boxing and not knockout. They think the only way to be a good fighter is knocking someone out.
But you
the
know
sport is boxing, not knockout.
Yeah, you know how it is. You get a guy who he just don't want to get knocked out. That dude's going to cover up. He's going to be tighter than shit. I mean, it's hard to knock guys out like that.
Tighter than dolphin pussy.
Yeah, Damon's over here. He's doing his thing. That's my homie. Thanks, Damon. I appreciate it. And TBO, I know you're not, bro. It's all good. What else is it? There was something else in there.
There's a good one here, Kelly. Sergio Mesa has a question. Errol Spence at 147 versus Shane Mosley.
Shane Mosley?
Spence. 147. I would have took Mosley.
No, not at 47.
Mosley would have laid it on Spence.
Spence could fight. Spence could fight.
Mosley was like Porter 2.0, but could punch.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't as strong as Porter naturally, and he's smaller, a lot smaller frame than Porter. At 147,
punch in the welterweight division, man. It was always the hardest puncher in the welterweight division.
Spence would have stopped. I think Spence would have probably come close to stopping Mosley at 147. Now,
he wasn't any bigger either.
135, Mosley was unstoppable.
Oh, Spence Mosley was a monster. I don't know, man. It had been a close one.
Not 47. Yeah, losses. A lot of people.
Strongest guys in the sport. Physically, one of the strongest guys.
Wouldn't be surprised if Mayweather fought Tyson. Teofimo versus Garcia. Not sure if you talked about that. Teofimo beats Garcia. He's too much.
Too good. He's too good. Too big, too.
Yeah, nothing that Garcia, I think, would be able to do to. Listen, I mean, Teofimo, not only is he strong, but the dude he's fast. He can hit hard. He got good defense. I mean, he's a complete package right now at lightweight. It's going to be hard to beat him.
A good fight, though.
King Rye, Teofimo versus King Rye. I just answered that. Um,
Please,
yeah, I don't
Kelly.
know. I mean, that Spence to me is just he's good, man. Spence could be. We're talking Spence is a guy that could possibly fight at middleweight, and you're talking about Mosley, where I think he topped out at 147. I don't know, man. That
54.
Spence all day in that fight.
Um, you have a question here, too. Another one from Damon. Guys, how important is an Olympic gold medal for a professional career? Why do fans discredit it? I think it's important to get you paid. That's a big thing, and it gives you some kind of credibility in the sport to start with.
I think it used to. I think it used to be the biggest thing, and I think unfortunately after the 2000 team, I mean it still helps. Don't get me wrong, and it depends on the promoter who's signing you, but also we've seen unfortunately a lot of top guys, top Olympic guys, come out, and they never really panned out. I mean more so not than have. So I don't know. I mean, it may help a little bit on signing bonus. I mean, I remember 2004 when that team came out, nobody got a signing bonus. That was one of the first Olympic classes that I think nobody got a signing bonus. Um,
Medalist in '04 either, though.
huh?
There was no gold medalist in '04, was there?
No, but none of the Olympic guys just in general came out and got everybody was got shit. I got a signing bonus in 2000. So
Wasn't had what's his name? Audrey Ward winning gold in 2000.
Ward was
Gold medal,
2004.
right? Four?
Yeah,
Okay. And then we had and then 2000 there was no Olympic gold medalist, and then '96 was David Reed.
yeah.
David Reed. '92 was Oscar.
But like
And
they said,
'88 was
but
almost
a lot of fighters, the 2000, there was no gold medalists in the 2000, and they all still got huge signing bonuses. Jermaine got a couple million, Lacey got a couple million, Ricardo Williams got a couple million, and they all,
boxing was
besides
doing really
Jermaine,
well. Economically, boxing was on the upswing in 2000. That was one of the best times in history for it, money wise.
but a lot of the guys now, I mean, I don't know. Again, the last couple of Olympics, I'm not sure, and I didn't pay too close attention, but I don't know
Clarissa Shields, I think, was the only one.
they may move you. I mean, you're an Olympic gold medalist. I mean, they may. No, I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I do know it hasn't been ever since 2000 was the last of those like mega deals though. Now somebody like Emiliano, that kid right there was some when they're already looking at him. I don't even think that kid has to win a gold. I think he's going to get huge signing bonus.
They already offered him multi-million dollars
Yeah.
now, and he's only 15 years old. They already offered him $12 million. So
Yep.
I don't know if we were supposed to say that, but I'm sorry. But yeah, he was offered a good amount of money, and he's not even 16 years old yet. He can't even
That's
drive.
what I'm saying. There's a kid right there that don't really need the, you know, it'll help him. And I know it's a goal and a dream that he wants. He wants to conquer it, but I don't think that it's he'll get signed no matter what with a signing bonus.
Yeah. Kennedy says, I believe De La Hoya got $1 million. He did, Stephen. Ron Middleman and I forgot the other one's name. They paid him $1 million. They were like a car dealership out there in LA. They gave him $1 million signing bonus and a Corvette, I think, for him to sign.
Shit, you go back to 2000. Them guys, I think like Ricardo got like $5 million.
Yeah. Got a shit ton of money, too.
Yep.
He won his.
So, well, I'm slowing down on the questions. We're approaching 8 o'clock. Let's wrap it up. That was a good show today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope we got all of them. It's hard, guys, to answer all these. My YouTube was, for a second, was blowing up there. A lot of questions.
Each other.
But it came to an end. Real quick, if I can sneak this one in. Uncle Sham said, is Deontay retiring? No, he is not.
From Damon. These kids are different. There are no more free gyms like back in the day where anyone can walk in and be a boxer. You got to pay to train now. I agree. It's not just that, too, Damon. I think there's the community support's not there. I mean, back when you were a kid, if you got in trouble with the police or got in trouble in school, they'd run your ass to a boxing gym and let the police athletically take care of you. You start training a little bit. They don't have that anymore. There's no money to do that anymore for the community outreach programs. And nobody wants to play. Nobody wants to box. They want to play football and basketball, where the big money's at.
And let me tell you, I sound like an old man, an old man here, but you know the way this is, the society is anymore. It is made to make you lazy, and I get caught up in it at almost 40 years old. You know, kids they don't want to put the time in, and the ones that do, they do, and I give them credit. So you just got to find a way to get them in. You got to draw them in. You know, that's going to be my plan with my gym. You know, when I get that with my charitable organization, you got to find a way to draw them in and keep them there. And I think once they start getting in and moving, you know, but it's people got to take the time to and put the time in with them. And then TVO said Joe Smith's future. I don't know, man. Joe Smith right now, nobody's really talking about him. I don't. I haven't heard anything. I don't know what he's going to do. If he's going
Is
to
that
play.
good? I don't think he's good. I've never been on him. I don't know if he's
Yeah,
good
I
yet.
don't even think he's in contention right now for a title that I know of. So,
Sergio
uh,
says, Sergio says, will Fury fight this year? I have no idea. I would like to see him, but I don't know.
I think you Fury, Tyson Fury.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they're going to make that Joshua fight, from what I'm understanding. So, but hey guys, I need you to go subscribe, share, like, but mainly subscribe.
Hit that bell.
Yep. I
Hey,
want to thank everybody for asking all the
yes,
questions that was
yes.
tonight. A lot of questions.
Coming on tonight, guys, and tell about our new show, Kelly.
Yeah. So the new show, also the Punchline YouTube. Um, we interview it. It's not like this, so we just mainly interview. We'll talk boxing. So listen, guys, if you want, go check that out. Listen to our topics. Listen to the interviews with the people that we have on, and then when we come back and do this show, you guys can ask your questions on it or tell us what you think and give your opinions of the show. And I think it'll be fun. And we're on this platform. We can answer and talk to you guys. So, but go
Yeah.
check that out. We'll put it up on everything so you guys see and you can tune in.
All right. That's it, guys, and have a good weekend. We'll see you guys next week.